Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Leaders Lead. I have Katie Lunning with us here tonight. Katie, thanks for being here. This is
Thank you for
super
having
rad and
me.
such a pleasure. Yeah, it's fantastic. Katie, you have such a remarkable story, and you're such an awesome person. And when I got a chance to meet you after hearing your story and then hearing it in person, um, it was like I had to come meet you. We gave you a big hug, and I said, um, "Hey, can we chat more?" And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to formally introduce you to Katie Lunning, who not only is a major in the military, but she's also a nurse. And talk about a life of service. It's absolutely phenomenal. Katie, I'm not going to do your introduction any justice at all. Can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Sure. Like you said, I'm Katie Lunning, and I serve part time in the Minnesota Air National Guard, where I am a major, but I am a nurse. I'm a critical care air transport team nurse, and I'm part of a three-person team of a physician, a nurse, and a respiratory therapist. And our job is to provide in flight critical care to the most critically injured or ill patients. My full time job is I am an ICU nurse. I am the ICU nurse manager in the VA in Des Moines now.
Katie, tell us a little bit more about your military experience and maybe some of what brought you into deciding to join the military and how did that come about?
Yeah, so very normal high schooler, and I was going to college like all of my friends were after high school. And I don't have a lot of family history in the military. My dad was a Vietnam era veteran, but he was drafted. So I really wasn't on my radar to join the military, but I was going to college and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to go to college for. So I felt a little uncomfortable with the amount of money it was going to cost. And I was just kind of looking to do something different, but I just didn't know what it was. And I started my first year at the University of River Falls in Wisconsin. And I was in my dorm room getting ready when September 11th happened. And I stood in my dorm watching it on TV, like so many of us were watching it as it unfolded. And it just cemented in my mind that there was a bigger purpose for me and something that I wanted to do outside of myself. And I joined that year, the National Guard in Minnesota, and then I ended up going to training a little bit later on in the year. Yeah, so really September 11th, I was kind of that era of people that was why I joined.
Yeah, what a phenomenal um, reason to join and having a calling and that sense of purpose. First and foremost, on behalf of everybody that's going to listen to this great nation, myself, my family, I just want to say thank you for your service. I'm honored to have served and during the same time as you, and we're thankful for what you've done for this great nation and continue to do.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody who's at some point in their life decided to do something different.
One of the things that Leaders Lead likes to do is highlight the leadership experiences that um, people that come up through the ranks, go through the military, do is the leadership lessons they've learned, how it's molded them, and how it's helped them grow their career, and to share some of the experiences that they've gone through. Um, Katie, you have one of the most remarkable stories that I've heard, and the depth of experiences that you've gone through, and the profound moment and event that you went through. I just got goosebumps. Like, I don't know if you can see them on the camera, but I just got some goosebumps. What you went through going through Kabul, and the evacuation of the United States troops out of Afghanistan. How did that leadership moment impact you and how you lead others?
Every experience that comes our way changes us and makes us into the leaders that we are. And I joined 18 years before the events unfolded in Kabul, and I joined. I'm a September 11th, person who joined. So I joined at the beginning of the Afghan war, and then here I was in person at the end of it. And I had a lot of life experiences between those two moments. I was enlisted for 10 years, so I was an NCO, a sergeant. That gives me a different type of leadership experience. And then I became an officer 10 years later when I became a nurse. So I had different backgrounds, and I think that gave me different outlooks and skills going into this moment. It was such a big moment that involved a lot of um, trying situations and danger and personalities that from this point forward, it made me want to focus on my team. I learned the importance of making sure that I personally am ready and then making sure that my team is personally ready, and the importance of getting to know your team as well and knowing their strengths and weaknesses so you can identify when someone's struggling and try to intervene along the way.
Yeah, that's really important, um, from a leadership perspective, is being able to catch those nonverbal cues, right? Like having being able to tell when somebody's having an off day, or they're just
Yep.
um, they're dropping things, they're fumbling, or whatever those little subtleties are. Um, Especially when you're doing the type of work that you're doing. I totally get it. Yeah, I can relate to the, hey, I didn't just jump into this moment in Kabul and all of a sudden I'm just this person that has all these experiences. So I think that's a really good point that you make, and um, thank goodness you didn't, because you were prepared to do what you were trained, right? And
Hmm.
you know, there's I think there's a saying, and I might butcher it, that CZ, like Colonel Lopez, or excuse me, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, who reports to the Chief Staff, the Joint Chief of Staff right now. He says, um, people that aren't professionals train to win, and professionals train so they don't lose. And
Yeah.
I think it's really evident of, like your type of experience of what you do every day. Like you're dealing with real deal stuff as a nurse, and your background, and I think it's super commendable. Um, it's it's awesome. I too served early on, and I joined in 1999 when I was 17. But I started in the Iowa Guard, not Minnesota, and um, I I I joined, and then when September 11th happened, it it changed a whole bunch for a whole bunch of people. So I totally get it. When you think about looking for those differences that you have, and you show up for every day now, like uh, how have you taught others that you work with on a daily basis to do that?
That's a really good question. I think I'm just more focused on making sure that my team is ready, whether it is my civilian team, my nurses. The COVID-19 pandemic was, no joke for intensive care nurses. And we went through a lot on that level as well. So making sure that nurses now are prepared for whatever is next on the front of healthcare. Healthcare is ever changing. We don't know what's around the corner. So making sure that they're ready, leading by example in that way, making sure they're prepared. I've taken a lot of interest in making sure that my airmen are prepared. I'm the chief nurse of the 133rd in St. Paul in Minnesota, so I'm kind of responsible for all the medics and nurses in my unit, and it's very important to me that they're prepared, not frightened or scared, but a realistic understanding of what the world is and that they understand their purpose in it. And, I talked a lot in my speech that night about my why, which is my daughter, Addie. And she's the reason why I want to keep serving. And I want to be that good example for her. Of course, I hate leaving her, but I want her to know that there's something bigger and we should give back and help others.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Um, that's part of the reason why I do this, so we can share our stories and uh, transcend to others the leadership lessons that we learned. And because a veteran or somebody still serving like yourself, we're so much more than just a uniform, right? We can
Hmm.
contribute so much more to the world, and there's so much more that good that comes of it than just hey, we are in the military and
Right.
we're the proverbial knuckle dragger, right? Like, no,
Yep.
look at you. I mean, look at what you're doing. You're working to save lives every day and helping lead a team. And man, that's rad. And you're being a role model for your daughter. So, um, uh, Katie, we're super proud to have you here. Um, Thankful for what you've done. Your story will continue to pull it out just a little by little as we go through the next 4 episodes, and have you share it with us. It's an absolutely amazing story. So for those of you who haven't looked up Major Katie Lunning and her story and what it's about, I'll put a link into it in the bottom of this as we go through and share the story in this podcast, so you can read more about it. But Katie, what can we do to help you? What can we do to help share your story? What can we do to lift you up as this community? Um, what can we do to help you?
I think just sharing the story of my team and what happened during Operation Allies Refuge. That's the biggest thing that I've gotten out about this. It's not about me or the Distinguished Flying Cross. That's not what it's about at all. It's about the people. It's about the airmen, the Marines, the soldiers that were there and did everything they could to pull off one of the most historic military airlifts that has ever happened. And the people of Afghanistan, the innocent citizens and the people of Afghanistan, and what they went through. So that's the story that I want told.
And when you think about the most historic and the largest of scale and all those things, it's not, it takes more than one person, right? It's not just Katie,
Yes.
right? And
Yep.
I love that you say that it was about the team. And I think that
Mhm.
we're going to do a really good job of helping you honor the team and lift the team up and share it. And so I'm excited about that. So, hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Leaders Lead, episode 1 out of episode 5 with Katie Lunning. Katie, we're super excited for you to come back for episode number 2. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.